important part of the harbor maneuvers is controlling the speed of the boat. One way to control the speed of the boat is having a certain sail plan, meaning that just you have certain sails up or down, depending on what you're trying to achieve. For this purpose, you need to be quite effective in hoisting the sails when needed and dropping them when needed, and you sometimes have a limited amount of time when you can successfully do it. Also, what you need to understand what can go wrong with the sails and why you're not able to hoist it or drop it, and be able to fix it really so fast. So let's first look at the jib. Jib is fairly simple sail to hoist and to drop. You can point to any direction for hoisting and dropping it. Things that you need to remember is to make sure that the jib sheets are relatively free, so that you're not having a force that will heel the boat, or will have too much force on your hands when you're hoisting it, or for example will start turning the boat the direction that you don't want to. So make sure that before hoist and drop that the sail jib sheets are quite open. Hoisting is done pretty, it's quite simple. You do it by working the working end of the spinnaker halyard here. So, and when you hoist it, it comes automatically in the lock. So when you hoist it up, when you release it, it will stay there. In order to drop it, you need to unlock it and then make sure that it drops. One of the problems that you face is that when you unlock and the sail doesn't come down, you will run to the front, try to pull it down, but as you're pulling it down, it will accidentally go to the lock. Then you will have a person running again forward, unlocking it, running forward again, trying to pull it down, it locks again. So that creates a lot of time for that, and if you need to drop it really fast, that might be one of the problems that you can encounter. Of course, one way to remember that you can always open it from here without need to go to the cockpit. And the second life hack about it is to take the sufficient amount of the rope to be running freely before the lock. So this is the best way of doing it. So if you just take this amount of rope, then you have about 2 meters and plus 2 meters here. So this way, when you take it out of the lock, at least the sail will drop by its own weight about 4 meters, and then you can pull the rest, and then you can come to the front, pull the rest down, and then if it locks again, you can just open it from here. The biggest issues with the hoisting and dropping are usually happening with the mainsail. So the mainsail, as I said, needs to be hoisted and dropped as you are pointing head to wind. And when you're pointing head to wind, your boat is losing speed. So usually you have a limited amount of time to perform the drop or hoist before your boat completely loses the speed and you lose the control of the boat. That's why you need to be completely prepared for this operation and also quickly understand if something goes wrong. So the preparation for the successful hoist includes making sure that the boom comes 90 degrees up or higher. So main sheet needs to be running absolutely freely. Making sure that the kicker is open on the both sides of the boat, that it can come up. Making sure also that all the other controls, like out haul, is a bit more loose. This way, boom doesn't prevent the boom from the boom doesn't prevent the mainsail from coming up, so it can come up very unrestricted. So the second issue to make sure is that the sail is not getting stuck anywhere here or doesn't jump out of the groove over here. This can be prevented by so when the main sail trimmer hoists the main, the bowman can control the luff of the sail to make sure that it goes nicely inside, and communicate if there is any problems by saying stop, a little bit more down, and fixing the problem, and then say continue. So clear communication is important for the successful hoisting. The main halyard is located on the starboard side of the boat, and you pull it up from this is a quite good position to pull it up from. As you pull it up, you need to again pull it at the speed so that it goes quite fast, but at the same time goes into the groove quite well. And the key part in here is to make sure that the lock, which is this little ball on the metal wire, goes into the lock. So in order to get it into the lock works this way. So you need to pull it, and then at the end you pull it just once, and then it goes into the lock. If you pull it even more further, then it jumps out of the lock. So the first time when you pull it in, it does this one little click. When you pull a bit more, it does the second click, and then it unlocks. So the key here is to, at the very end, is to pull with quite a lot of force, but slowly, until you hear this one click. What happens very often, if you pull it very eagerly, you pull it really fast, and then you do click, then it doesn't start. Then you do click, and it doesn't stay there. So you need to do until you slowly, but with a force, until you do one click. So make sure that you can also practice these things in our open water by when you have a no tight situation and no boat around you, you can actually try to unlock and lock the sail just to make sure that you get a hold of it. When dropping the sails, the same thing needs to be taken into account. So that sometimes it takes a while to drop the sail, but once you drop the sail, you need to make sure that you basically you turn off your engine. That you need to make sure that you have enough momentum to get to the place where you want to get. So the timing is very important, even more critical that the timing of the mainsail drop comes at the time. So unlocking happens again. You make sure that all the ropes are open, the out haul, the kicker, the main, Cunningham, everything is open. You pull it up again to get to that second click when it unlocks, and then you can drop the sail. To do this more effectively, you can have also a bowman over here being ready to pull the sail down really fast, because it will not come by its own gravity because of the friction within the groove here. It is recommended that sometimes the second click it might be very difficult to achieve. It takes much more time that the boat would be able to glide without any with just inertia, without any sails. So what is recommended is to make sure that you're able to get the sail up. So once you're coming to the harbor, one is you are still an open space and you still have no boat around you. So for example, 300-400 meters in this open space in over there. You can unlock it, make sure that you have time to unlock the sail, but then after that one, put the main into the, for example, sheet lock. So this way the main will stay up, not fully tight as it needs to be, but it's enough for you for the harbor maneuvers, and you are able to drop it very fast. So these are maybe most important things that you would need to remember and consider when you do the harbor maneuvers, and understand what can go potentially wrong.